So probably the biggest things were when in high school, when I was in Mexico and went to Camino Real that was designed by Legarreta, and that was so much a different view of looking at something than what I was used to in Portland, Oregon, which was where I grew up. So that really kind of changed things of how I looked at buildings ever from there on, really. Mm-hmm. That in particular probably changed how I looked at things.
Perfect.
See things that are different, and when you travel the world and you see it different cultures, different buildings, and that kind of changes your attitude of how things are done. So I would say that I like to think of myself as somebody who solves problems. That's how I personally look at what architecture is for me. I like to solve problems, and our practice is very diversified. We don't do any one thing. So what is the actual or most important problem to solve there? And that's what I find the most interesting about it. I think that at the start of any project, you have to have a program that defines what we want to do. And then you start off with an initial phase. So you've got things running around in your head of what you think will solve those problems that you think are there. And so you put those down on paper as quickly as you can. And you think that will solve the problem. And then you leave it there for a few days and you don't look at it. Then you come back to it and you look at it, and you will either say, okay, that's not a bad idea, or you'll look at it and go, what were you thinking? And so, but that extra time of just being away from it and then looking at it again really does change your perspective of what is happening on that, or is that really solving the problem? I like to control the consultants, so they all work under us, and so I know enough about each one to get involved in whether it be civil, structural, MP&E. On military, we have 5 or 6 other consultants that we don't in private sector. Appreciate his background of being a cabinet maker first and then going into architecture. As I understand it, his father was a cabinet maker. Buildings are fairly simple and elegant, and I would look for them for ideas in residential applications that he's done. But that, work is always kind of up and down we do private sector and government work. So the military projects probably stay fairly steady, and in some years they have been more than the private sector, and then the private sector kicks in, and so they're always kind of going back and forth depending on what the economy does, I guess. So so you run into issues of, are you busy, not busy? Do you need employees, not employees? So employees become a pretty integral part of how you can do or not do work. I would encourage them to learn everything they can about all disciplines of what it takes to do a building. I think, and I would build things. I would go out and actually build things.